Disclaimer. We are interested in everything and experts in nothing. We enjoy learning, but get it wrong sometimes. We mean no disrespect, and if we mess up, kindly correct us. Let's take this ride together, unless your intention is to cause harm or distress, in which case, with utmost haste, fuck right off. All right.
We're back for episode 9.
Episode 9.
That makes it my episode.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the face on Mars.
Oh.
I'm going to throw you for a slight curveball because...
Is it a foot?
That would be a curveball. No, that's not what I mean.
Oh, okay.
We are going to start in 1877.
I mean, Mars has been there for a long time, so it's not that much of a curveball.
That's true. We're going to start with an Italian astronomer named Giovanni Virginio Schiaparelli.
Oh, okay.
This is the era when observatories were being built and they had finally big fuck-off telescopes.
Right.
And so he decided that he was going to use his big fuck-off telescope to map the terrain on Mars.
Okay.
He was going to do a Mars map.
Well, that is an ambitious gentleman.
Basically... You can only see so much because, far away and telescope. But based on the light areas and the dark areas that he could make out through the telescope, he essentially created a map of seas and continents on Mars.
Oh, okay.
And while he was doing that, he noticed what he described as channels on the surface of Mars.
Okay. Like canals?
So here's the thing.
Okay.
The Italian word for channel is canali. And because Americans are the way we are,
yeah,
we did translate it as canals when it means channels. And so that started this whole other thing because canals meant intelligent life on Mars.
Life and irrigation. And...
Exactly right.
Okay.
So there was a guy who was super excited and intrigued by this.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
Kind of, yeah, that's fair.
Martian waterways.
His name was Percival Lowell.
Okay.
Which, I kind of like that name.
I mean, that's kind of an intense
It's
name.
It's a fun name.
It's a fun name. Go, Mr. Percival.
I forgot to show you pictures. So, this is Mr. Schiaparelli.
Oh, fancy mustache.
That's his Mr. Italian man there.
Yep, with
Canal
his lovely
man.
mustache. Oh,
and this is
look
Percival Lowell. Doesn't he look dignified?
Mustache.
Yeah.
You're so dignified.
So this will be up on our website. We'll put these pictures up on the website. But Percival Lowell was super excited by the concept of canals on Mars and the implications of that. So he developed a theory that intelligent Martians had created the canals to move water away from the polar caps.
Okay. Down
to the equator regions, supposedly when they melted annually. And that's how Martians survived. He published several books on this subject, and it was hotly debated. Basically, the implications of how advanced a society would have to be to pull off a global construction and engineering project like that. Because just think about it. That's massive. It's very organized. All these implications involved. That's actually what inspired H.G. Wells to write his novel War of the Worlds. Was Percival Lowell's theory.
Okay.
Which was later adapted to a radio broadcast by Orson Welles.
Yes.
Of the same name, and that confused the F out of me.
Yes.
Because they were both Wells, but don't think there's a
They're
relation.
not at all related.
They're not even spelled the same way, I don't think. One has an E.
No.
At the end. So, anyway, he inspired that. So it was definitely part of the culture. I guess pop culture is accurate, but it was definitely part of the overall climate of the world. But it was debunked in 1965 when...
Wait, when did he make this determination? The 1800s?
1890 something. 1906 was one of the books. He wrote several books, but yeah,
so
in that era.
stuck for a
long time. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, for a long time there was a lot of debate about it. It was in the culture.
Okay. But then it was officially debunked.
It was officially debunked in 1965 when the Mariner 4 flew by Mars and revealed that there were no canals at all.
Were they channels?
They were not channels. There was nothing. What he saw was just somehow...
a dirty telescope.
I don't want to say dirty telescope. That sounds like we're calling him incompetent. But it was some artifact created by the fact that it was through a telescope.
From the 1800s.
In very far away.
Very far away. Okay.
They were never there.
Okay.
So at that point, it was agreed there was no evidence of any existence of Martians, intelligent life or otherwise, on Mars. Boom. That's where we are in 1965.
Okay.
So that's all pre-face.
This is pre-face?
Yeah, there was no face. That's just what people thought of Mars and what might be on Mars and why.
Okay.
Prior to finding the face.
For some reason, I thought they would have been debating that face a lot longer.
They didn't see a face.
All right, well, continue.
Yeah. So actually, when it comes up, it was 1976, and the NASA's Viking 1 spacecraft was surveying the planet for potential landing sites for the Viking 2.
Okay.
And while it did that, it captured an image of an apparent face on Mars in an area called Cydonia.
Ah.
Which I only just realized since I said it out loud. Wasn't there a song called The Knights of Cydonia? Wasn't it on, like, Guitar Hero? It's like
Knights of...
It was one of the really hard ones.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing. Anyway, I wonder if that's related. It was only when I said it out loud that I was like, wait, that might be a time.
Why do I know that name?
Yeah, it's fine. Are you going to Google it?
I am going to Google it.
Google it. Let's find out.
C-Y... Oh, here we go. Song by Muse. So there you go.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Hey!
I wonder if that's related.
I'm sure it is. Because, don't they have Supermassive Black Hole as one of their songs?
Good point. Okay, well, I enjoy Muse, but I would not call myself, like, a hella fan.
Me
so
either.
I've done no research into their inspirations or anything like that.
But it was on a video game.
It was.
Moving on.
We'll come back to that, actually. What I found interesting, though, was apparently NASA released the photo to the public literally just days later.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it was released as a way to generate interest in the NASA program.
That makes sense.
But it was released like, hey, look at this cool, crazy phenomenon. Like, from day one, NASA was like, this is an illusion. It's not really a face, but isn't this funny?
Yeah.
Well, that didn't, no.
People still don't believe we landed
They did
on
not
the moon.
believe it. So it still led to some wild theories.
Okay.
Including allegations of government cover-ups and whatnot.
They covered up the face on the red planet.
They're denying the existence of the ancient Martian civilization, which in some theories is like the precursor to humankind.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's where we came from in some of these theories. So anyway, pulp culture ran with it.
Yeah.
Remember, the idea of intelligent Martians was a huge piece of culture 10 years earlier, basically.
And then now we're in the 60s and 70s and we have lots of psychotropic drugs.
Good point. But 1965 was when they debunked the first
There's no
theories.
canals.
Right. And now 1976. So it's 11 years later. And so it kind of like, well, maybe there really was. And so
maybe there really was. Okay.
It was already pretty well established in the culture that the possibility was plausible.
Okay.
So this just like reignited everything.
Of course.
And so pop culture ran with it. And according to CNET website, it showed up on The X-Files, Futurama, and Final Fantasy IV as a couple of examples. Just to
okay, yeah.
So I looked it up because as soon as I saw The X-Files, I'm like, well, I have to know which episode, even though I already did.
Right.
I did know which episode.
Of course you did.
It was exactly the one I thought it was, but I confirmed it was in season 1, episode 9, the episode called Space, which... If you remember, it's actually in the credits. Like the guy, like the face over top
the weird
of his face.
Yeah.
That episode was inspired by the face on Mars.
All right.
Let's see. I wrote some more down about that. It says, IMDb trivia for the episode claims that it's generally regarded as the worst episode of the series. Which has nothing to do with anything, but there's a lot of fun facts I threw in here. Just because... I learned something noteworthy that wasn't strictly related, but I'm going to toss it in. Yeah. So apparently that was the worst episode.
Line. You can have weird slime-like people that eat livers, but don't you dare use the Mars name in vain.
Apparently that's the worst one.
That is the line.
Who knew? So It's also in the Futurama episode Where the Bugalo Roam.
Yes, I know. I love that episode.
Which is season 3, episode 42.
That is such a good episode.
I don't know anything about the episode. Go ahead and tell me.
Okay, so Amy Wong is the character. You know Amy. You've seen Futurama.
She's the one-eyed one, or no?
No, that's Leela. You suck
Leela.
at this.
Look, I told you I don't know.
Amy Wong, rich girl. Their family is from Mars. So they go to Mars to visit her family and their ranch, and they have these, they're basically like, they look like ladybug cows. They're called bugalows. They're like half bug, half cow type thing. And like their parents have a ranch, and like there's these dust storms that keep stealing the bugalows. And then of course Amy gets kidnapped, and it's the native Martians that are like, we changed our mind and we don't actually want to give you the land anymore. And so, yeah, that was that whole thing. But then they find out that the quote unquote bead that they traded for was this like massive Texas-sized diamond. So then they're like, oh, never mind. You keep Mars. We're going to go get our own planet with this massive Texas-sized diamond now.
Win-win.
Win-win. Yeah, but it took place on Mars. And it was supposed to be like kind of a commentary on like colonization of the native lands being obviously slighted towards the white people getting the better end of the deal. But this one actually turned out well, because it's a giant ass fuck off diamond. And they even said, you know, if you want to trade the diamond back, and they're like, nope, never mind, we're leaving, bye.
We're gone. Okay, so then Final Fantasy IV, and now I'm way outside of my element here.
I can't help you there.
Yeah, but apparently there is an Easter egg reference to the face on Mars on the red moon of that game.
Sure.
I don't know.
I mean, so I could call Zach real quick, or we could just not.
Either you know or you don't.
Yeah, moving on.
And if you know, you care, and if you don't, you don't. So,
hey, there you go.
Anyway, so I'm going to try to get this name right. I think I did okay on the Italian name, but Richard C Hoagland?
Hoagland. That's what I would say.
He's an American author, and he was convinced that the face on Mars was part of an ancient city, kind of like the Mars equivalent of the Sphinx.
Okay.
And he pointed out other rocks in that area that he were convinced were the city ruins, and there were nearby formations that he said were actually pyramids, and like he went there.
Okay.
And like he did all kinds of like math problems, which basically somehow through math, these were very significant and very obviously not natural. They were
so through
intentionally
math, everything
made
is possible.
Through math. So he wrote a book called The Monument of Mars, which there were 5 editions, and it's still available on Amazon.
Wait, there's only 5? You mean 5 copies?
No, 5 editions.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I was like, wait a minute, there's only 5 copies of the book and Amazon has them?
No, 5 editions.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about that, but first, a fun fact.
Okay.
Per the website, The Guide to the Universe, Hoagland is the reason that the first space shuttle was named Enterprise. It was originally supposed to be called the Constitution, but he supposedly, allegedly, harassed President Ford by mail until he got his way to name it the Enterprise instead.
Okay, so, why do I suddenly love this guy now, even though he's probably insane and doing lots of math?
We'll get there.
Okay.
But yeah, what I noted was that he was the original cringy Trekkie that gave us all a bad name.
Yes.
But anyway, so let's talk about him a bit, because I went onto Amazon and I read the about the author on that listing. Okay. And so per the listing about the author, Richard C. Hoagland has been a NASA consultant and science advisor to Walter Cronkite and CBS News.
Okay, so he sounds legit and not crazy pants.
In 1996, he won the Angstrom Medal for Excellence in Science. For the last 18 years, Hoagland has led a multidisciplinary team, the Enterprise mission, in an intensely controversial scientific investigation of potential artificial structures on the Moon and Mars.
All right, I take it back, dude. You're legit.
Right? So it's like, my first thought is, okay, he's crazy. Yeah. And then I'm like, okay, but it doesn't sound crazy. It sounds like he's got reputable...
He's backing things up with math.
Right? So I bought the book.
Okay.
Mine was the 4th edition.
Okay.
Not the 5th edition, so who knows. But
In the 5th edition, he finally says, I made it all up. Ha, 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 ha.
No.
Okay.
But I bought the book, the 4th edition, and because I was deeply curious what on earth he could have to back all that up.
Is it math?
Oh, lots of math. But
always math.
But first of all, okay, so I'm reading the book. I did not finish it.
Okay.